There comes a moment in everyone's life when silence feels louder than noise. You may be surrounded by people, routines, and responsibilities, yet something inside you feels empty. Not broken, not hopeless, just unanswered. That feeling is not weakness, it is the quiet call of purpose. Purpose is not something you suddenly discover like a hidden treasure. It is something you slowly uncover by paying attention to how you live, how you feel, and how you respond to the world around you. Many people believe purpose must be something extraordinary, a grand mission, a dramatic breakthrough, a life-changing realization. But purpose often begins in very ordinary moments. It begins with the questions you avoid, the discomfort you feel when your days start to blur together, the sense that you are capable of more, even if you cannot yet explain what that more is. Purpose is not always about what you do, it is about why you do it. When you wake up in the morning, what gives your day weight? Not motivation, not pressure, but meaning. Meaning comes when your actions align with what truly matters to you. Many people chase happiness, thinking purpose will follow. But purpose usually comes first. Happiness becomes a byproduct. When you live without purpose, even success can feel hollow. When you live with purpose, even struggle feels meaningful. Finding your purpose does not require changing your entire life overnight. It requires changing how you look at your life. Start by noticing what drains you. Pay attention to what leaves you feeling empty, restless, or disconnected. These feelings are signals, not failures. Now notice what energizes you. What conversations make you feel alive? What activities cause you to lose track of time? What ideas you return to again and again, even when no one asks you to? Purpose leaves clues. It whispers before it shouts. Many people ignore these whispers because they seem impractical, unrealistic, or insignificant. But purpose is not concerned with practicality at first. It is concerned with truth. Purpose grows when you honor what feels meaningful to you, even if you do not yet know where it will lead. You do not need to have your entire life figured out to live with purpose. You only need to take your next step with intention. Purpose is not found in the future. It is built in the present, in the way you treat people, in the way you respond to challenges, in the way you choose to show up, even when no one is watching. Some people wait for purpose to arrive before they act. Others act with care and awareness, and purpose slowly reveals itself. The second path is the one that lasts. Meaning is created when you feel connected to something beyond yourself. That connection may come through helping others, through creating something honest, through learning, teaching, listening, or serving. Purpose does not demand perfection. It asks for presence. When you live on autopilot, days pass without depth. When you live with awareness, even simple moments carry meaning. A conversation can become purpose. A routine can become purpose. A small responsibility can become purpose, not because it is impressive, but because it matters to you. Purpose does not require approval. It requires alignment. The more your actions reflect your values, the stronger your sense of meaning becomes. And values are revealed not by what you say, but by what you consistently choose. When faced with fear, do you choose comfort or growth? When faced with uncertainty, do you choose avoidance or curiosity? When faced with pain, do you choose numbness or understanding? Your answers shape your purpose long before you can name it. Finding meaning in everyday life is about slowing down enough to notice what already matters. It is about listening to yourself without judgment. It is about allowing your life to evolve instead of forcing it to make sense immediately. Purpose is not a destination, it is a direction. And once you begin moving in that direction, even slowly, life starts to feel different. Not easier, but clearer.
Purpose is often misunderstood. Many people believe it arrives suddenly, like a lightning strike of clarity. But purpose rarely announces itself loudly. More often, it whispers through ordinary moments. It hides inside small choices, quiet preferences, and the things you keep returning to even when no one is watching. Finding your purpose does not begin with changing your life. It begins with paying attention to it. Look closely at the moments when time seems to slow down, the moments when you feel present instead of rushed, the moments when you feel useful, connected, or quietly satisfied. These are not accidents, they are signals. Purpose leaves clues long before it reveals direction. Many people feel lost because they are searching for purpose outside themselves. They look for approval, recognition, or a perfect role that will suddenly make life meaningful. But purpose is not something you receive from the world. It is something you build through alignment between who you are and how you live. Meaning grows when your actions match your values. You don't need to know your entire life mission to live with purpose today. You only need to know what matters in this moment. Purpose is not a destination. It is a way of moving through life with intention. Everyday life offers countless opportunities to live meaningfully. How you treat people, how you handle responsibility, how you respond to difficulty. These choices shape purpose more than any grand plan. Many people wait until life feels clear before they act, but clarity comes after movement, not before it. Purpose reveals itself through engagement, through trying, through doing, through learning what feels right and what doesn't. You don't find purpose by thinking endlessly about it. You find it by participating in life. There will be days when purpose feels distant, days when everything feels routine or empty. These days are not signs that you lack purpose. They are reminders to reconnect with what grounds you. Purpose is not constant excitement. It is consistency with meaning. A purposeful life is not free from struggle. In fact, struggle often sharpens purpose. Challenges show you what you care about deeply enough to endure discomfort. Pain reveals priorities. Resistance exposes commitment. Ask yourself what you are willing to work for even when motivation fades. What feels worth the effort, even on difficult days? Purpose often lives there. Purpose also evolves. Who you are today is not who you will be forever. As you grow, your sense of meaning will shift. This is not confusion, this is growth. Let yourself change without guilt. You do not betray your purpose by adapting. You honor it by listening. Many people fear choosing the wrong purpose, but there is no single correct path. Purpose is not about perfection, it is about sincerity. Doing what feels true with what you know right now. Small actions done with intention create a meaningful life. You don't need dramatic changes, you need awareness, presence, responsibility. Purpose can be found in service, in learning, in creativity, in care, in discipline, in building something slowly and honestly. It can exist in your work, but it is not limited to it. It can exist in how you show up for others, how you show up for yourself, how you treat your time. When meaning grows when you stop living on autopilot, when you slow down enough to ask why you do what you do, when you choose deliberately instead of reactively, when you act from values instead of fear. Purpose is not about being extraordinary, it is about being aligned. Even ordinary days can be meaningful when lived intentionally. A purposeful life is not loud, it is steady, grounded, quietly fulfilling. You do not need to become someone else to find purpose. You need to become more fully yourself. Purpose is already present in your life, waiting to be noticed, strengthened, and lived. Purpose is often misunderstood. Many people believe it must arrive as a single powerful realization, a sudden calling that changes everything overnight. But purpose is rarely loud. It does not usually appear as a dramatic moment. More often, purpose is quiet. It grows slowly. It reveals itself through attention, honesty, and daily choices. Purpose is not something you chase far away. It is something you uncover by looking closely at your own life. Many people feel lost not because they lack purpose, but because they are disconnected from themselves. They are constantly reacting to expectations, comparisons, and pressure. When life becomes noisy, purpose becomes difficult to hear. That is why the first step towards meaning is not action, but awareness. When you slow down, you begin to notice patterns. You notice what drains you and what energizes you. You notice moments when time seems to disappear, when you feel present, alive, and engaged. These moments are clues. Purpose often hides inside what feels natural to you, not what impresses others. Purpose does not always come from doing something big. Sometimes it comes from doing something small with care, listening deeply, helping sincerely, creating honestly, showing up consistently. Meaning grows when your actions align with your values, even in ordinary moments. Many people wait to feel confident before they act, but clarity comes after movement, not before it. When you take small steps in the direction that feels true, your sense of purpose strengthens. Action teaches you who you are. It is also important to understand that purpose is not fixed. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to outgrow old dreams. What gave your life meaning in the past may not serve you now, and that does not mean you failed. It means you evolved. Purpose adapts as you do. When you stop judging yourself for not having everything figured out, space opens up. In that space, curiosity replaces fear. Instead of asking, "What should I do with my life?" you begin asking, "What feels meaningful to me right now?" That question is easier to answer, and it leads you forward. Meaning is built through contribution. When you focus only on yourself, life feels empty. When you focus only on others, life feels exhausting. Purpose exists in balance, where what matters to you also serves something beyond you. You do not need to change the world to live a meaningful life. You only need to be useful in a way that feels honest to you. Sometimes meaning is found in service, in learning, in creativity, in care, in discipline, in building something slowly and honestly. It can exist in your work, but it is not limited to it. It can exist in how you show up for others, how you show up for yourself, how you treat your time. When life becomes difficult, don't push away. Lean into the struggle. Ask yourself what this experience is trying to teach you. Purpose is often shaped by difficulty. Learn from what you have endured, then use that experience to connect with others. In truth, purpose is not a complicated puzzle. It is a daily practice of presence and honesty. When you stop searching for a magical answer and simply show up in your life, meaning reveals itself.
Everyday life is filled with purpose when you stop rushing through it. Conversations become meaningful when you listen. Work becomes meaningful when you care. Rest becomes meaningful when you allow it without guilt. You do not find purpose by escaping your life. You find it by engaging with it more deeply. As you continue living, your purpose will reveal itself layer by layer. Trust that you are not behind. Trust that questioning is part of the journey. Trust that meaning grows when you live with intention, honesty, and patience. Keep paying attention. Keep choosing what feels aligned. Purpose is not a destination waiting for you in the future. It is something you build quietly, daily, through the way you live now. Purpose is often misunderstood. Many people believe it must arrive as a single powerful realization, a sudden calling that changes everything overnight. But purpose is rarely loud. It does not usually appear as a dramatic moment. More often, purpose is quiet. It grows slowly. It reveals itself through attention, honesty, and daily choices. Purpose is not something you chase far away. It is something you uncover by looking closely at your own life. Many people feel lost not because they lack purpose, but because they are disconnected from themselves.
They are constantly reacting to expectations, comparisons, and pressure. When life becomes noisy, purpose becomes difficult to hear. That is why the first step toward meaning is not action, but awareness. When you slow down, you begin to notice patterns. You notice what drains you and what energizes you. You notice moments when time seems to disappear, when you feel present, alive, and engaged. These moments are clues. Purpose often hides inside what feels natural to you, not what impresses others. Purpose does not always come from doing something big. Sometimes it comes from doing something small with care, listening deeply, helping sincerely, creating honestly, showing up consistently. Meaning grows when your actions align with your values, even in ordinary moments. Many people wait to feel confident before they act, but clarity often comes after movement, not before it. When you take small steps in the direction that feels true, your sense of purpose strengthens. Action teaches you who you are. It is also important to understand that purpose is not fixed. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to outgrow old dreams. What gave your life meaning in the past may not serve you now, and that does not mean you failed. It means you evolved. Purpose adapts as you do. When you stop judging yourself for not having everything figured out, space opens up. In that space, curiosity replaces fear. Instead of asking, "What should I do with my life?" you begin asking, "What feels meaningful to me right now?" That question is easier to answer, and it leads you forward. Meaning is built through contribution. When you focus only on yourself, life feels empty. When you focus only on others, life feels exhausting. Purpose exists in balance, where what matters to you also serves something beyond you. You do not need to change the world to live a meaningful life. You only need to be useful in a way that feels honest to you. Sometimes meaning is found in being reliable, sometimes in being kind, sometimes in being brave enough to live truthfully. Your struggles are not distractions from your purpose. They are often part of it. Pain deepens understanding. Confusion builds empathy. Failure teaches humility. What you survive shapes what you are able to give. When you reflect on your life, pay attention to what you have learned the hard way. Those lessons often point toward where you can make a difference. Purpose is frequently born from lived experience, not theory. It is also important to release the pressure to be extraordinary. Purpose does not require perfection, it requires presence. When you show up fully in what you are doing, meaning naturally follows. Everyday life is filled with purpose when you stop rushing through it. Conversations become meaningful when you listen. Work becomes meaningful when you care. Rest becomes meaningful when you allow it without guilt. You do not find purpose by escaping your life. You find it by engaging with it more deeply. As you continue living, your purpose will reveal itself layer by layer. Trust that you are not behind. Trust that questioning is part of the journey. Trust that meaning grows when you live with intention, honesty, and patience. Keep paying attention. Keep choosing what feels aligned. Purpose is not a destination waiting for you in the future. It is something you build quietly, daily, through the way you live now.
Finding your purpose is not about discovering one big dramatic answer. It is about understanding yourself more deeply, layer by layer. Most people believe purpose is something external, a job title, a role, a destination. But purpose is internal before it becomes external. Purpose begins as a feeling, a quiet pull, a sense that something matters to you more than other things. When people say they feel lost, what they really mean is this:
they are disconnected from themselves. Purpose does not arrive suddenly. It grows slowly when you pay attention to your inner world. Notice what drains you. Notice what energizes you. Notice what makes time disappear when you're doing it. These are not random experiences, they are signals. Your life is constantly giving you clues. Most people ignore them because they are distracted. One of the biggest lies about purpose is that it must be grand, that it must impress others, that it must be extraordinary. In reality, purpose is often quiet, simple, personal. Purpose might be helping people feel understood, creating order where there is chaos, teaching what you once struggled to learn, building something slowly and meaningfully. Your purpose does not need applause, it needs alignment. Many people search for purpose while running away from discomfort, but purpose is often hidden inside the very struggles you want to avoid. Ask yourself gently, what pain have I experienced that changed me? What challenges shaped my character? What lessons did life force me to learn? Your wounds often point toward your purpose because they give you empathy, depth, understanding. What you survive becomes what you can guide others through. Finding meaning in everyday life requires presence. Meaning is not created in the future, it is created now. When you rush through life, everything feels empty. When you slow down, everything becomes meaningful. Purpose shows up when you do one thing fully, listen deeply, care intentionally, show up honestly. Even small actions gain meaning when they are done with awareness. You don't find purpose by thinking endlessly. You find it by living, trying, failing, learning, adjusting. Clarity follows action, not the other way around. When you take action aligned with curiosity instead of fear, your path becomes clearer. You don't need to know the whole road. You only need to take the next honest step. Many people wait to feel motivated before acting, but purpose is not discovered through motivation. It is discovered through commitment. Commitment to learning, commitment to growth, commitment to self-honesty. As you commit, confidence grows. As confidence grows, meaning follows. Another powerful truth about purpose is this: purpose evolves. Who you are today is not who you will be forever. Your purpose changes as you grow. What mattered to you once may no longer matter now. That does not mean you were wrong. It means you are evolving. Allow your purpose to change without guilt. Growth requires letting go of old identities. Many people feel pressure to figure life out. But life is not a puzzle to be solved. It is a relationship to be built, with yourself, with others, with the world. When you treat life as a relationship, purpose becomes something you nurture, not something you chase. One of the most meaningful questions you can ask yourself is, what kind of person do I want to become? Purpose is less about what you do and more about who you are becoming. When you focus on becoming more patient, more disciplined, more compassionate, more honest, your actions naturally align with meaning. Purpose also reveals itself when you serve something beyond yourself, not for validation, not for praise, but because contributing gives life depth. Service does not always mean helping the world. Sometimes it means being present for one person. Sometimes it means creating something meaningful. Sometimes it means living with integrity. Purpose grows when your life is not only about you.
Feeling lost is not a failure. It is an invitation to pause,
to reflect, to reconnect. Periods of confusion often appear before clarity. Do not rush through them. Listen to them. Silence often speaks louder than noise. You don't need to compare your journey to anyone else's. Comparison disconnects you from your own truth. Your pace is your pace. Your path is your path. The moment you stop copying others, you begin discovering yourself. Purpose lives where authenticity lives. When you stop pretending, when you stop chasing approval, when you stop living someone else's expectations, the closer you live to your true self, the clearer your purpose becomes. Finding your purpose is not something that suddenly appears one day like a miracle. It is something that slowly reveals itself when you start listening to your inner life instead of the noise around you. Most people think purpose is something big, a grand career, a massive achievement, a single passion that defines everything. But purpose is not always loud. Often it is quiet. It shows up in small moments, in repeated thoughts, in the things that move you emotionally when no one is watching. Purpose is not something you chase, it is something you uncover. And the first step is understanding this truth. You don't find purpose by searching outside yourself. You find it by understanding yourself deeply. Many people feel lost not because they lack ability, but because they lack direction. They wake up, go through the day, complete tasks, scroll endlessly, sleep, and repeat. Life becomes a loop. Days blur together, and slowly a quiet emptiness settles in. That emptiness is not a weakness, it is a signal. It is your inner voice telling you that you are meant for more than survival, more than routine, more than distraction. Purpose begins the moment you stop ignoring that voice. Meaning in life is created, not discovered. It is built through choices, through attention, through responsibility. You don't wait for meaning to arrive, you give meaning to what you do. When you do something with care, it becomes meaningful. When you do something with intention, it becomes purposeful. Even the smallest actions can carry deep meaning when done consciously. To find your purpose in everyday life, you must slow down enough to notice what matters to you. Ask yourself quietly, without pressure, what makes me feel alive? What makes me lose track of time? What kind of problems do I feel drawn to solving? What pain in the world do I feel deeply connected to? Purpose often hides inside problems you care about. Some people feel purpose when they help others grow. Some feel it when they create. Some feel it when they protect, build, teach, heal, organize, or lead. There is no single correct purpose. There is only your purpose. Many people feel pressure to figure out life quickly, but purpose unfolds in stages. At one point in life, your purpose might be learning. At another, it might be surviving. Later, it might be serving. Then creating. Then guiding. Purpose evolves as you evolve. You are not failing if you don't have everything figured out. You are becoming. One of the biggest obstacles to finding purpose is comparison. When you compare your journey to others, you disconnect from your own path. You begin to chase goals that don't belong to you. You start measuring success using someone else's values. This creates confusion. Purpose requires honesty. Honesty about what you want. Honesty about what you don't want. Honesty about your strengths and limitations. Clarity comes when you stop pretending.
Meaning is deeply connected to responsibility. When you take responsibility for something, a task, a person, a goal, a craft, life begins to feel meaningful.
Avoiding responsibility may feel comfortable, but it creates emptiness. Embracing responsibility gives structure to your life. Purpose is often found where responsibility meets ability. Not what is easy, not what is popular, but what is worth carrying. Many people search for purpose by asking, "What should I do with my life?" A more powerful question is, "What kind of person do I want to become?" When you focus on becoming, more disciplined, more kind, more skilled, more aware, purpose follows naturally. Your actions shape your identity. Your identity shapes your direction. Purpose grows from character. Another key to finding meaning in life is presence. When you are constantly distracted, life feels empty. When you are fully present, even ordinary moments feel rich. Presence turns routine into ritual, work into contribution, silence into insight. A purposeful life is not always exciting, but it is deeply fulfilling. You don't need to change everything at once. Purpose reveals itself through small, consistent alignment, doing what feels right even when it's difficult, saying no to what drains you, saying yes to what challenges you positively, listening more than reacting, choosing growth over comfort. These choices shape a meaningful life. Sometimes purpose is not about doing more, it's about removing what doesn't belong. Removing distractions, removing toxic environments, removing habits that numb you, removing beliefs that limit you. Clarity often comes from subtraction. If you feel lost, it does not mean you have no purpose, it means you are in a transition. Transitions are uncomfortable because they require change, but they are necessary. You cannot become who you are meant to be by remaining who you were. Your purpose does not need to impress others. It needs to align with you. A meaningful life is one where your actions match your values, where your inner world and outer world are connected. When you live this way, peace replaces confusion.